Race fans, the ASRS welcomes you to Indianapolis for the running of the final race in their Wednesday IndyCar series for the season. We have 80 laps of action tonight. I'm Andre Grambush, joined alongside Carlos Acosta. Again, doing a little bit of multitasking, commentating, and pushing the buttons, bringing all the action to your screens. Carlos, this is going to be quite a fun event, I think. We were talking to one of the drivers and league owner, Jim Foose, before the race, and he was predicting a lot of action here at Indianapolis. What do you think?
I think he's nailing. I think he's nailing what he's saying because Indy is always a track that's a blast to drive and a blast to watch, and none other than finishing out this inaugural season at Indy is a good way to do it. We already got cars out on track running some Q laps, some qualifying laps. Unfortunately, it seems like the telemetry still does not work under qualifying, so it's right on the backup ticker. But yeah, seems like these guys can go about 30 laps. So with 200 miles of racing, that might be a two-stop race. But Andre, the question is, will these guys be able to make it another caution-free race? We didn't have it 2 weeks ago. Who are we watching? That's Dennis Pleer, the championship leader, and will be champion once he takes the green, just smashes into the wall. You got Jim Foose with this throwback Menard listing machine. And Andre, I'm excited to get this race going. It's the last one of the season, but not the last one we're going to broadcast. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Indianapolis, obviously a very historic location for the IndyCar series. They've been going here pretty much since the dawn of these cars, and the track has changed a lot over time. Of course, it used to be made out of brick. That's why they call it the Brickyard. But now all that remains of that is the start-finish line, and everything else is paved and actually diamond graded, which is rare to see on an oval surface. You don't see that diamond grading all the time, but it gives these cars a little bit more grip, which you combine that with the really long straightaways and the unique sort of rectangular shape of this track, and you get something that's just not like a lot of other circuits that you might see with a NASCAR or even IndyCar. And these guys are going to have to deal with, I would say, the standard IndyCar challenges. Obviously, the slipstream is going to be quite prevalent, as it always is with these cars, but it's going to be amplified even more because these straightaways are so long. They're going to be weaving back and forth, trying to break that draft where they can. That may be where some of the action that Jim was talking about is going to come in, but right now on our qualifying grid so far of those who've turned a lap, it looks like the number 42, Jim Foose, is top of the board right now with a 40.39. Now, of course, that is blazing fast. The stock cars around this track turn an average of about 49 to 50-second laps on a good day. So insane how fast these cars are. Jeremy Banning is sitting P2 in that 30. He's about 2/10 off of our current pole sitter. Patrick Stein in the 89. He's third, just about 300ths off second place. And the fourth driver who have posted a time so far, Lee Staples, he's 4/10 off. But I'm interested in how big of a separation there is here, Carlos. A lot of times with Indy cars on an oval, you don't see much separation. The lap times are always really close, but here we've already got 4/10 of separation. That's quite surprising.
I would agree with you, but I also have to remind you that some of these guys the lap time you see may be their first lap time compared to their second lap time. I believe traditionally for the Indy 500 qualifying, it's your average of 4 fastest laps, I believe, and in this case, we're just doing your fastest of 2 laps. So that's why we're seeing some of those times fluctuate from going, wow, a tie.
Yeah, we do have a current tie for P6.
Oh, no, sorry, never mind. I'm blind. That's not a tie. That's 0.09.
Yeah, for second place, but we do have a tie for sixth place. They're both 0.59 off. So they are just a little bit close there. They're gonna have to see what they can do on their second lap to get that average up. Again, like you mentioned, they're doing the average lap times here at this race as opposed to just going for one-shot quals, which is a little bit different. Pretty interesting. Again, reminiscent of the actual Indy 500 qualifying, which you explained it pretty well, Carlos. I think there's a little bit more to it, but I probably couldn't tell you because I remember it was explained to me a while back how the qualifying worked, and my head was just spinning. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, that's a little convoluted.
I'll just go fast.
But here we got Exactly. Just go fast. That's the goal for any race car driver. Forget the rule system. Forget the points. Just go out there and go fast. Do what you do. But Dennis Pleer still sitting on the pole there. That number 11, he was able to overtake Jim Foose as well as Tyler Beeman and Jonathan Holstein. They moved up quite a bit. But there's your tie right there, Carlos. It finally happened. A
Oh,
tie for the pole.
I called it. I was just a little early. Um, Speaking, we were talking about Jim Foose earlier, who was on the top of the board. I was actually speaking to him before we went live, and he told me that he wants to get a top 5 in the points, which right now he's currently 6, and it's a realistic option for him to end up finishing in the top 5 in the points, maybe even 4th. But he said to start the race, he may just take it easy and maybe even just skip qualifying and start at the back. So that he can avoid any potential carnage that could or could not happen, as we see JT Litter out on the track right now. So I found it very odd that he just pretty much did it about face and almost qualified the pole, as he went ahead and started leading the majority of qualifying until player Holstein and Tyler were able to get out there and put their laps in. But yeah, it's a little shocking, little betrayal. But he is. He qualified, and currently he's in the top 5. 4th right now, but let's see where JT Litter is going to put in his best lap time. Is we still have just over 3.5 minutes remaining. 8 drivers have qualified, 13 drivers out, potentially to start tonight's race. So just a little more than half of the drivers have qualified. We still have Alan Young, Jason Camps, Christian Lejeune, Litter's out on track, and Ackerman have yet to go out on track and post a lap time yet. But 3 minutes to go. I could maybe see a couple other guys coming out. I know for sure Lejeune is somebody that usually kind of waits till the last possible moment to go out and put a lap time. I think that's what he did the last race. So let's just see maybe Lejeune come out of pit road and get something going on. As actually I see Charles Ackerman out in pit road right now.
Could be that Lejeune is trying to replicate his feat from 2 weeks ago there. He started in the back of the pack, didn't quite get his qualifying lap time in, raced to the front, and ended up getting a little bit shuffled around with the pit strategy and a caution coming out at just the right time. He wound up a lap down. He got that lap back via a wave around, then went on to win the race, which was absolutely incredible. You don't see something like that too often. So definitely, maybe he just wants to toy with the competition a little bit, start in the back. Again, with a 13-car field, these guys that like to be in and around traffic and just have a good time racing with one another, they can sort of start in the back, and it's not necessarily the end of their night, because when you've only got 13 cars on track, you can make some passes here and there, make sure you stay with the pass. And as long as you keep your eye on the leaders, make sure that nobody's falling out of the lead draft in front of you, you can kind of keep a good pack going. And I know that some of these guys, especially Lejeune, seem to thrive in the action. They like to be around other cars. They they want to make those passes and be side by side. They have fun with that. But so far, Dennis Pleer holding on by a thread again. Holstein just barely holding on with that tie, 0.00 between them. Tyler Beeman at 200ths of a second back from him. Jim Foose, he's about a 10th back off of our leaders. So qualifying times did tighten up quite a bit, as Carlos predicted there. We do have about 8/10 back to JT Littler, who I believe is already making his way back down pit road. About 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Now, given that this is a combination, both laps combined, the average of both laps, anybody who has not made their way out on track is likely not going to have time to post a time. So I would imagine Lejeune is going to be starting at the back among a couple others. But yeah, I think qualifying is pretty much set, and it seems like, unless we see an absolute miracle, we are going to have a tie for the pole, and it will go to Dennis Pleer. So quite incredible. But you can see just how low in the corners they're getting. That's kind of the line that you got to take around this track. You want to enter real high right up against that wall, and you want to get it down on that white line. And honestly, the preferred line is to get 2 tires down underneath that white line, but it is a little bit risky, because should you hit the curbing or the grass with those left side tires even a little bit, your car is going to get out from underneath you. It's going to try to spin around. And with an Indy car, these cars are built to go forward. You get them sideways, the air goes right over the car. There's no downforce, and it's almost impossible to bring back around. We've seen it in the 2 races that we've broadcasted for the IndyCar Wednesday night league here, and uh, drivers get sideways, and very talented drivers, I should add, they get sideways, and there's just not a whole lot they can do. Last time in Michigan, we had quite the runoff. We had a huge infield section for a lot of the track. So if the drivers got sideways, it kind of acted as their saving grace. Here at Indianapolis, you don't have that luxury. You've got the inside wall right there, right at the edge of the straightaways. And even in the corners, there's not a whole lot of runoff. You go beyond that curbing and beyond that grass, and the wall's right there. But we do have our official starting grid. So on the pole, Dennis Clear right alongside Jonathan Holstein. Both these drivers setting a near identical lap time. Tyler Beeman, Jim Foose making up row 2, 3, and 4. Behind them, you got Patrick Stein and Jeremy Banning. Charles Ackerman, Cameron Winter going to be behind them. Running out your top 10, you got Lee Staples and JT Whitler. Alan Young, Christian Aleshu are going to be running out 11th and 12th. And it looks like, do we have anybody in 13th? Yes, we do. Jason Camps is going to be starting 13th, should he grid up in the number 17 machine. And that is going to be our starting grid for the Indianapolis 200, the SRS. And we are going to be going green shortly here. Drivers are gridding, and the pace car is away. So the calm before the storm, these guys are going to make their way around the track. And the IndyCar does pace a little bit quicker than say a NASCAR race. You pace around this track about 70 or 80 in a stock car, whereas in these cars, I believe they're going somewhere around 90, if not more. They pace a little bit quicker. So
they're currently going 70 miles an hour.
I stand corrected. I thought the IndyCar always paced a little. Well, they pace quicker in real life.
Actually, hold up. Pace car, the leader's kind of going around 75, 80.
Yeah, we'll call it in the middle. We'll say they go about 80. But, in real life, IndyCar tends to pace pretty quick. But here in the simulator, there are a few differences, things that are a little bit different here and there. And that may be one of them. But got some drivers coming across the radio and pre-race chatter. Of course, a lot of these guys probably going to be keeping that to a minimum. They want to stay focused because the start of these IndyCar races, like any other form of motorsport, are going to be the most chaotic portion of the race. You've got the entire field. Nobody's been eliminated yet, and they're going to be probably the closest proximity that they'll be all night, wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, from the front to the back, and they're going to have to pay attention to the cars around them. Of course, visibility not quite as good as it used to be with the Indy cars. We've got these windshields or windscreens, whatever you want to call them, and while they don't obstruct visibility quite as much as, let's say, a Formula One halo, they do obstruct your visibility just a little bit. And a lot of these drivers are likely relying on the in-game iRacing spotter, which it's always a bit of a gamble. So they got to be focused, got to almost listen for the engine sounds. And there goes the pace car down pit road, and man, wasting no time. Dennis Clear gets on the loud pedal before the pace car had even really reached the pit barrier. And he got a huge gap because of it, but we've seen this story play out quite a bit before in past races. The further out the leader gets, and we have a yellow flag already.
Oh, Cameron Winter.
Yeah, that car is not making it back to pit road.
No, definitely is not. It's Cameron Winter. Fortunately, goes. I think that was a self spin. He may have clipped either the grass or got loose with the cold tires. But let's go see if I can go ahead and pull up a replay as to what happened.
We're going to try to dial that up if we can, but both the front tires completely angled out on that machine. So coming through turn 1.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he called it just a bit of a self-spin, and that's kind of what I was talking about in qualifying. You want to get down low, but you got to be careful because there is a loss of grip. Once these cars want to go around, there's not a whole lot you can do to stop. I'm going to take a look at the onboard. Keep an eye on that steering wheel, and I'm sure you're going to see him flick it to the right. He's going to try to correct it, but there's just no response from the car. It got out from underneath him, and away it went. There's nothing to get it done to that steering wheel to change that outcome as we take another look here. And you got to think some of these drivers are pretty lucky. I mean, he was right in front of the number 33, as well as a few other cars there, and got on that apron, got loose, and look at this. Man, oh man.
Oh,
What a close call that was.
was that Elijah? No, that wasn't Elijah. That was, I don't even know who that was. That was Ackerman.
Let me scroll through the grid. Yeah, that was Ackerman. Charles Ackerman just barely skating by there by the skin of his teeth. That was, wow. Now they're coming past pit road. The question is, does anybody take tires after one lap? I wouldn't imagine they would. I certainly wouldn't, but you never know. Sometimes these drivers do things that surprise me. And speaking of surprises, there goes Lee Staples and Alan Young. Both these drivers making their way down pit road. Not sure what they're going to do. I'm curious to see if these cars go up on the jack or if they're just getting a splash of gas, because they do have tire limits in this league, correct, Carlos?
Yes, they do. They do have tire limits. To give me a little bit, actually, be a little more specific than, yes, they do have tire limits. But, yeah, I don't expect, I do believe these guys are coming in down just so they can get a little top up in fuel. And yeah, it looks like none of the guys over there are electing to get any additional tires, which is good.
Yeah, they went ahead and got fuel there. I didn't see either of those cars go up on the jack, so that's kind of a good strategy call, I would say. I mean, you got to think, these guys were towards the back of the pack anyway, so they didn't sacrifice any track position, but they now have about one lap more fuel than anybody else. So if this race came down to fuel mileage, if things absolutely really played out in their favor, they are giving themselves a possible advantage. Now, the chances of this changing anything for them is very slim, but it literally cost them nothing to add that slight chance of an advantage. So good call for sure, I would say. And plus, having more weight in these cars, I think, is a good thing, especially here at Indianapolis. You want these cars to be a little bit heavier because the high speeds and the very little banking, these cars get real floaty real fast. It's the best way I can describe it. You give the steering wheel some input, and it feels like you're just driving on air. These cars get so lightweight, so a little bit more fuel can never hurt anybody. I think that's a good call. And for a lot of these guys, it may be the play that even if they didn't want the extra fuel, staying in the back of the pack is maybe the play, because you can watch the competition ahead, see what they're doing, learn a little bit from them. But
Andrew, these drivers have 4 sets of tires for the weekend, as we may be seeing some more guys go down pit road to kind of do what you're talking about, top up a little bit. 4 tires for the weekend, so 3 in pit road. So that's 4 tires, 3 of them in pit road, and the 1 set of tires that they start the race in. That's interesting. I actually did not know that the pit lights actually worked. I thought that they were always off. But oh wow, Lee Staples kind of slapped that wall in pit road. I don't know if you caught that. That was a little weird. Yeah. I think he'll be fine, but
I don't think I caught that. But yeah, he should be all right. I'm a little curious because Lee Staples, he came down pit road the first time. This is his second trip down pit road. Twice in 1 caution?
Yeah. Here's why. You want to know why? Because iRacing does this thing where if you do not go down pit road the first time, that second time when it's like 1 to green, iRacing will not allow you to go down pit road. Because you said, hey, I don't want to go down pit road, and then iRacing's like, fine, don't go down pit road, period. But if you go down pit road that first time, then iRacing will not close pit road for you.
Interesting. That's again, that's a little quirk of iRacing, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. So he made his way back down pit road, got that sorted out, and it looks like the lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to be getting it back to racing momentarily. Dennis Pierce still in the lead. He had not lost it in the time that we were green. Of course, we were green for less than a lap, and with the huge advantage that Clear gave himself with that start there, he got the jump and just pulled away. But honestly, I think had that stayed green just a little bit longer, he may have been at risk of losing the lead, just because Holstein was really coming in that slipstream, and that's something we're going to see play out all night long, repeatedly. There goes the pace car, and it looks like in a near mirror image, a single file mirror image of the first start, Dennis Clear gets on the throttle really early, but this time Holstein was not surprised. He knew what Clear was going to do. He knew what card he had up his sleeve. Whoa! Holstein loose into turn 1, and he was able to gather it up, but a huge wiggle. And man, these cars got to be real loose on cold tires, because I'm seeing a lot of cars kind of struggling with that. Of course, we saw the incident there on lap 1 Now we have a move for the lead. It would seem Jonathan Holstein on the outside line. He's going to try to make this work. Now, you can work the outside line at Indianapolis. It's difficult to do, but you can make an overtake if you play it to perfection, if you have a little bit of help. And look at that. The leader gets on the curb, gets sideways, has to get off the throttle. That's not just going to cost him the lead. That's going to cost him second as well. We've got a 3-car breakaway from the rest of the pack. These 3 leaders far and away. 4th place currently, Jeremy Banning in the number 30 machine. He is about... I would say 15 car lengths behind these guys, so just barely within the draft, but he is definitely in danger of losing it if he can't form up with Jim Foose, who's in 5th, and Patrick Stein, who is there in a 6th. These guys form up, they could catch the leaders, but that's really surprising, Carlos. Dennis Pleer just got on that apron a little bit too much, and it cost him a lot because he is continuing to fall back from the leaders. They're actually pulling away. Tyler Beeman and Jonathan Holstein are about a 10th of a lap faster.
I wonder if maybe it could be a fuel-saving type of strategy going on, because this seems like a really big loss for such a small thing. And yeah, I know it's a kind of a momentum to base track, but still, it shouldn't be slipping that bad. This isn't like the current gen Cup cars where if you even think about getting off the throttle, you're gonna lose a draft. But, yeah, interesting. Also interesting, Lee Staples and Jason Camps both went down pit road at the same time. I think they're serving some sort of penalty. I'm not sure. I thought they were just coming in there. Maybe they were going to try to stretch the fuel and make it on one less stop. But, I don't know, the math didn't add up. And the fact that they were in pit road for over 36 seconds tells me I think they got some sort of penalty, both each.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what penalty that would be, but I think you're definitely right. I can't imagine they would come down pit road willingly here on lap 6 of 80, especially when we just had that yellow flag. They could have pitted if they so chose right then, but yeah, that's definitely strange to see. So that's going to set Jason Camps back a little bit, and he's actually going to cycle out ahead of Dennis Pleer here, 1 lap down. So this could be a blessing or a curse for Dennis Pleer. It depends on how fast Jason Camps is. Now, he actually, considering he had to come down pit road, he may have taken tires, so there's a chance he's got pretty good tires. Even if he didn't, if he can maintain speed, that could be a huge help to Dennis. He could use the draft. They could both link up, catch up to those leaders. Alternatively, if Jason Camps is a little bit off pace, if he's not quite there with the leaders, that could hold up Dennis. So I think the fate of his race is kind of hanging in the hands of Jason Camps. But as I say that, I've seen Dennis Pleer tag that outside wall a time or two coming out of the corner, and I'm not sure if that is a result of the car being tight or if it's that the car is so loose that he's actually afraid to get on the steering wheel to turn away from it. I know that sounds silly, but that is a thing that legitimately happens, especially in a high downforce car. Sometimes it's so touchy and it gets so loose that you're afraid to give any big input. So you see the wall coming up and you just kind of hold the wheel steady. You hope that either you avoid the wall altogether, or if you get into it, you figure scraping the wall isn't as bad as spinning myself out. So not sure what's going on, but Dennis is really struggling with this handling, Carlos. I mean, he's fallen away from the lap car there. Excuse me, Jason Camps. And again, it seems like time after time, he is just either getting loose in the corner or sliding up to that wall on corner exit.
It's a little weird. So I'm kind of looking at what's going on around the racetrack, and I'm seeing Tyler Bean, Holstein putting in some really fast numbers. You know, some numbers that'll make you go, "Wow, that's fast." And then I'm kind of looking back around where Christian Aleju, Ackerman, Alan Young, Littler are, and it's not. They're not even running remotely close. And as a matter of fact, JT Littler, his last lap was over a second slower than the race leader, which is telling me these guys back here, they're trying to save fuel. They're trying to go for a one less stop type of strategy, because I mean, don't get me wrong, Indy's a big track and it can be dangerous, but with the way these guys drive and the amount of drivers out there, there's a good chance we're gonna see less cautions than
Whoa, boy!
What a save by Dennis Pleer. Oh, it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. And caution. No caution.
Not yet. No, no
Wow.
yellow
No, yeah,
flag.
that's right. Everybody went by. Oh my goodness. Wow. Let's put that up on the replay camera, even though there was no caution.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Dennis Clear, obviously, he's been struggling with the handling of his car.
He got turned.
Yeah, I think he might have got a little help there. It's hard to tell from that angle, but he might have got a bit of a bump. And if it wasn't a bump, it might have been taking the air off this wheel and just getting real close behind him. Let's take a look here. Working his way through the corner.
Oh no, he did get loose.
Yeah, he got loose, and then there was contact. So
and that's debris on the track.
Yeah, there is debris on the track. Does the debris actually affect the cars, Carlos?
Not anymore. Not anymore. I think iRacing disabled that. And I believe that debris was JT Littler because he is down pit road. He had some massive issues with handling because, well, you know, he's kind of missing that front wing. And that's kind of important as, wait, is that the blue car? No, wait, why is Linder down pit road? He's not the one that got hurt.
You know, I'm not entirely sure. He does have damage. That right
there
front
we go,
tire
Patrick.
Slowed out quite a bit.
Look at that.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Patrick Stein there. He is that nose cone hanging off. That's got to be, I mean, if I'm the flag man, I've got the yellow flag in my hand watching that car go around the track because that is a sizable piece of debris. I mean, going to the onboard, I'm not sure exactly what the driver's perspective is. This is a little bit higher than what the driver sits in the car. Yeah, he can't even see that he's got that.
This is the rare helmet cam. Yeah, you can't see.
Yeah, he can probably feel the damage, but he can't see it. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. Again, I'm surprised we haven't got like a debris caution or anything like that because there cars that are kind of half intact all over as he does make his way down pit road, like you said there. So that thins the field out a little bit. Problems early on for Winter, Littler, Camps, and Staples even. Patrick Stein, of course, making his way down pit road right now. That's going to really leave Ackerman as the last car that hasn't had any major issues as Player spun out on his own there, and no caution came out to save him. Again, really, really unexpected night. I can't think of another word for it other than unexpected. Dennis Clear has been so fast, and he was so good in qualifying. But we got to the race, and it was almost like he was driving a different car. You know, not the car we saw in qualifying, not the car we saw in practice. He was getting sideways, getting all over the place, and eventually it just came back to bite him. And that's unfortunate. But Tyler Beeman with a huge lead, and this is something we haven't even mentioned. Yeah. Look at this. Tyler Beeman with a 5.3 second lead. Now, you mentioned earlier, Carlos, that they may very well be trying to save fuel. And I would have to agree.
Yeah, I just can't really explain the massive gaps in speed between these guys. As a matter of fact, well, technically not the last lap, but when I started the sentence, there was the last lap. Tyler's previous lap was the fastest lap of the race on lap 15. And then I looked at Jonathan Holstein, and he was 2 seconds slower. So while I can kinda almost understand it if this was an open setup race, I would for sure understand it if this was the road race. It just doesn't make sense for there to be that much of a gap. And then the fixed oval race, that doesn't make sense. A couple tenths, sure, no problem. That happens all the time. But over 2 seconds, and you know, something happened to Holstein. Or which I'm actually starting to think something may have happened. He probably got loose or something because the time has kind of stayed the same. But I do think that some of these guys back there, specifically Ackerman now, might be playing that fuel strategy.
It definitely could be. I mean, it was close. I mean, it's an 80-lap race. If they wanted to make it on one stop, they'd have to make it 40 laps. And from what we heard from Jim Foose, he said somewhere around 30 laps. Now, that wasn't a precise number. Maybe they could have, you know, maybe if they were going flat out, they can go 35 laps and they're trying to save 5 laps worth of fuel. And if that's the case, they could save that amount of fuel. I have seen, actually, I don't think it was 3-Wide TV. I don't think I was with 3-Wide TV. I think it was back in the Galaxy Cup days. They ran an Indianapolis 500 full length that I had worked on as a commentator, and I saw some incredible fuel saving in that race.
Is
We
that
saw
for
drivers
Bueno
go.
TV?
Um, it might have been. It might have been. Honestly, my memory is so bad I don't even remember. But uh, we saw drivers save about 10 to 15 additional laps over the course of a run that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to save. So, I mean, I've seen crazier things in Indianapolis. Of course, that was over the course of a full length race, so they had more time to save, more time to conserve. And I believe they had the full tanks, which I'm not sure. Do these guys have full fuel capacity?
Yeah, they should. Let me
Okay,
double
so
check that, as I do want to say, yeah, 100% fuel. That's for sure.
yeah, so
They don't even have to save 40 laps. They have to. Oh, banning off track. He smacked the inside wall.
oh, and he was up there in the running too. He's now gonna go down a lot of time here on the access road, as he's gonna probably make his way down to pit road. It looks like the front axle of that car is shot. I'm not sure if he's going to continue to limp that thing around the track, but we have a pretty close three-car train right there. That was Alan Young, Jim Foose, and of course Ackerman. But Banning continuing to limp his way around, possibly the pit road, as Ackerman rides behind Jim Foose. Now, Jim Foose, of course, is kind of uh, engaged in a battle for fifth in points. Obviously, the championship has been locked up. But there is battles for points pretty much all throughout the grid. Fifth place is one of the positions that's up for grabs, especially considering that tonight is a double points race. So any point that you can get tonight, it's going to be times 2. So a lot of points on the table, and these drivers obviously want to finish as good as they can. Jim Foose in particular, we were talking to him before the race there, and he was saying that he's definitely going for fifth. If you think these drivers who didn't win the championship are just riding around without a purpose, you are dead wrong. As we have another incident. Is that a shoe?
No, that was Camps. It was Jason Camps that was stalled in the infield of the track.
Wow, a lot of smoke went up. It seems like you might have hit the outside wall there, or perhaps had some sort of other issue. But
I think you nailed that one, bud. I think you nailed it. Got on the great part. And yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he hit that ton.
Yeah, you get up in those marbles, you lose all front end grip, and that tends to happen. So unfortunate for Camps. He's had a rough race tonight, and that may be the end of it. But man, for some of those leaders that he was around, that was definitely fortunate. They weren't really closer to that, but still not as close of a call as what we saw there on lap 1. That was absolutely incredible. But right now, Tyler Beeman continuing to hold the lead, and he's grown that gap even more, Carlos. It's 9 seconds. So something tells me Holstein is saving and Beeman's not. And I think it's possible for these guys to save up to 40 laps. I mean, if I'm remembering the other race here at Indianapolis for the IndyCars that I commentated properly, which I'm probably not because my memory's trash, 40 laps is possible. The question is it worth it? Because to save fuel, you've got to give up a lot of time. You got to slow down. You can see this gap that's growing. Holstein is 9.6 seconds back. And if you save too much over the course of a run, there's going to come a time where the guy that's pitting that extra time, not only are you going to be so far back from him that you're going to struggle to make that time back up, but they're going to have fresher tires more often. They're going to have 2 stints on fresh tires, whereas you're going to have 1 stint on really old tires. So
to kind of stop you right there, I also do want to let you know, Tyler, his fastest lap is a 41.29, and on lap 25, his last lap was a 41.76.
Which is still interesting to me, because when you look at qualifying, Carlos, I mean, our pole times were in the 40-second flat range. And that was solo. That was with no draft help.
Oh, yeah, you got a point.
So either these guys have been saving the whole race, or maybe the track's just... I got to wonder, Carlos, if the track state isn't
I do think that these guys have a qualifying setup.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, that would explain it. And that could also explain why some of the guys who were fast in quals are struggling, or were struggling here in the race. They've got a completely different setup, and the car's going to be a little bit different. That would make sense, but we got a battle for second place here. It looks like Holstein and Alishu are going to be pretty much side by side. Alishu making the overtake. He's up into second place now. and they are both 10 seconds back from Tyler and Beeman. Again, not entirely sure what these drivers are doing in terms of fuel saving. We can speculate, but that's about all we can do. As we have a huge pack making their way down the straightaway and fanning out, as you tend to see with these Indy cars, just trying to break the track, protect the position. And man, oh man, yeah, it made me a little nervous too there. That was.
It made it work, but lost a lot of time there. Oh, and he hit the wall. He's in the wall. Other people are in the wall.
Yeah, this pack of cars, this is a hornet's nest, man. They are weaving up and down the track. A couple cars scraped the wall, like you said, and man, these guys are not taking it easy. I think they know that, last race of the season, even if they can't get the championship, they all want to win it. Why not go out there and run as good as you can? And they're going to be driving these cars real hard, driving wheels off of them. As a result, we've seen quite a bit of carnage tonight, and it's kind of funny. Jim Foose, before the race, he was talking about a lot of excitement, maybe a lot of carnage, and I didn't really believe him. I'm thinking, 13-car field. I think this is going to be a pretty clean race, a lot of green flag racing. But man, there has been a lot of excitement, a lot of carnage so far. And again, I think it comes down to it's the last race. You got to put up or shut up now.
I was trying to say, these guys don't even necessarily need to run 40 laps because we had a caution. Yeah, we had a caution on lap 1, and we also had a couple drivers go down at the end of the caution to just top up on fuel. Unfortunately, over 90% of those drivers were involved in incidents and they've gone down pit road, but one person who actually did elect to go down pit road on lap 2 for a little top up and is still running in the top 5 is Alan Young. Alan Young, so out of all the drivers, he's got the best chance at it. And the drivers don't necessarily need to go 40 laps because of that caution. They may need to go 38, 39. Alan may need to go less. He may only need to go 36 or 37 laps. Because you don't want to just pit on lap 40 because of that caution. You want to pit that 41, 42, 43. That way, you don't have to run the full 40 laps on your second stint. So, out of all these guys, Alan Young has the best chance if he doesn't smack the wall there. But that said, I do think that that's what the majority of the guys are doing. And Tyler probably is not with that strategy. Either he's thought about it and elected, now I'm just going to try to beat them at raw speed. Or maybe it hasn't crossed his mind.
Could be, or the gap is kind of stalled out at about 10 seconds now, so maybe Beeman kind of had the idea of, I'm going to get out there and get a huge lead, and then I'm going to start saving. I don't have to worry about the cars behind once I start taking it easy. That could be. I mean, you can never really tell with the drivers what their strategy is going to be or what's going through their mind, but it's definitely interesting because I feel like right now this is, for a race where we've had so many drivers have an early end of the night and you have so many incidents, it still really feels like it could be anybody's game, just because the strategy is so unpredictable. I feel like those early cautions that you mentioned there, Carlos, really threw a wrench into the plans of a lot of these drivers, and I think it also emboldened some of these guys to conserve. Like, hey, I can probably make it 40 laps since we've been pacing for a few laps here and not using as much fuel, so definitely shook things up and made it interesting. Right now, looks like Alayshu has taken over the first spot.
People on pit road.
Question, what happened to Beeman? Looks like Beeman came down pit road, so never mind. Beeman not conserving, nor is the number 24 of Alan
42.
Young. That was, I'm sorry, that is the, wait, which car is that?
That's a 42, Jim Foose.
42, Jim Foose. I'm sorry, the paint scheme kind of got me turned around there, but Jim Foose making his way down pit road. He's going to be getting 4 tires and fuel, so there goes Alayshu, as well as that
Holstein, Ackerman.
Holstein. And that's going to put
Young
Young
is
up
the only one that stayed out.
So the question is, does he try to stretch it? I mean, we're on lap 33. He'd have to go around the track 7 more times, roughly, a little bit more than 7 times. But with the amount of pacing we had, I mean, we had the yellow flag for, what was that, 4 or 5 laps of pacing? So saved some fuel there. And Alan Young... okay, 3 laps of pacing, and Alan Young has been in the draft probably more than some of these other drivers because before now he's not led the race. He's been behind other cars and never really got off on his own. Never really was kind of driving around where he didn't have that draft, so saving more fuel there. I could
And he
see
went
him
down on lap 2.
sliding with this. That's true. So with him coming down lap 2, having all the pacing, and being in the draft, I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna say Alan Young can probably make it to lap 40. But the question is, here's the thing: make it to lap 40, then you got to make it another 40 laps. So what's he gonna do in the second stint to try to make it to the end? Yeah, he's gonna have to do something in the second stint as well. Maybe hope for another caution, but either way, he can go a little bit further than some of these guys, and that may be an advantage as Beeman is currently second place behind him.
Nope, there he goes.
Back.
I cannot for the life of me explain the massive speed difference. Cannot.
Yeah,
I
everybody
don't get it.
They all came down pit road. They all got service, so nobody was really saving, or if they were saving, they at least abandoned that strategy and kind of jumped ship. So that's interesting. That's real interesting. The gaps in speed are kind of baffling. I agree with you, Carlos. Although my best theory now that I could think of is I think these cars are just really hard to drive. I don't know what setup they've been provided, but we've seen a lot of drivers struggling to keep the handle on these cars. We've seen drivers get sideways. We've seen drivers smack the wall. We've seen drivers get together. And you don't normally see that in an Indy car. You know, you don't see these cars sliding around. You don't see the drivers having to manhandle the cars like you do in certain other cars. But so far tonight, these guys have been really hanging on for dear life. When they sling themselves around this track at 220 miles an hour, they don't look comfortable. So I got to wonder if maybe the setup is just so out there that some of these drivers adapted to it really quickly and other drivers are struggling.
I've actually got the confirmation. They are running the iRacing provided Indianapolis oval setup.
Interesting.
So,
I'm not sure how that setup is. I'm not driven it, but
if we get a caution, we're gonna talk to Jim Foose, trying to figure out what's going on out here. But yeah, it could just be that these cars are hard to get a grasp of. I legit thought that at least Allen was gonna go for saving tires, and he did make it 2 laps more than the other guys. But I guess it could just be maybe they did try, and it was an unfortunate battle that wasn't going to go their way, and then they gave up. Which, you know, the moment you know you're not going to do it, you know, you got to abandon it. You can't just hope. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm confused. We're not even at lap 40 yet.
Especially when you think the dedication to that strategy would have to be 100%, because you'd have to do the same thing in the second stint. If you made it to lap 40, then you've got to go right back to conserving. You got to play your cards exactly how you played them in the first stint. And if you feel like it didn't work out the first stint, or like you were actively losing time because of how much you were conserving, yeah, you're not going to want to do that all over again in the second stint. You're just going to want to make it a 2-stop race. Say, all right, I'm going to go flat out. I'm going to get on 4 fresh tires, and we're going to give it everything we got. And I think some of the leaders kind of being in that situation where they had to come down pit road, maybe they weren't as well equipped in terms of conservation and whatnot as the number 24 machine. That kind of allowed a lot of the other drivers to come down pit road as well and not have to save, because, well, when the majority of the field comes down pit road, you're not really losing anything by making your way down pit road yourself. But yeah, this gap to the lead is huge. Tyler Beeman with a 16-second gap over Aleshu there in second place. Again, Aleshu with a number of wins this season, very fast competitor. Holstein in third, he's 21.6 seconds back. Ackerman's 22 seconds back from the leader. And Alan Young, who went further than anybody else, is currently running out our top 5 there, 23 seconds back. He's got the final lead lap car behind him in Stein. Now, Stein is just barely holding on to the lead lap. He's 35 seconds back, so about 5 seconds on track, roughly, from going 1 lap down. And behind them, you got the drivers who are -1 lap. You've got Jim Foose,
caution, Camps!
And whoa, man. Yellow flag does fly, and a third incident for Jason Camps is going to bring out the second caution of the night. The car is rolling out of the infield. What are you doing there? Okay, there you go, buddy. For a minute there, I seen that traffic coming and he's rolling forward. I was a little bit nervous, but taking a look at the replay, he's on the apron. What's
No,
going on
he
here?
just got on a pit road.
Okay, so he's coming out of the pits, got loose in the grass,
Okay, he
went
didn't
ahead
do
and
anything.
no, the car, he should be all right. I think he's
Yeah,
going to be
he
able to
should be.
continue on. Now those cones, can't say the same thing about those cones. That
No.
is a family of cones that is down a few members.
So, all right, caution came out, and I gotta say this. This just kind of puts all this whole first half kind of like out the window because we are gonna be past halfway once we do go back green. These guys do need to pit one more time based on what we saw that first time. I have a feeling that they're gonna pit again, and then they're gonna have one set of tires. Tires don't seem to be that important, so they may just pit on the halfway mark, and they may not even take tires when they pit on that halfway mark of the second run, I should say. But yeah, drivers going down pit road right now, I expect them to take tires, and I expect them to go fuel only halfway in that second run, so around lap 60. No, 60.
Yeah, that's an interesting prediction, going fuel only to the end there. That could be. I mean, you're going to save a lot of time doing that for sure, just taking the fuel. I'm curious to see what these drivers do, but after the drivers make their way down pit road, we're going to try and bring Jim Foose up, driver the number 42, have a word with him, but for now we're going to let him get that car serviced should he choose to do so. And I tell you what, I'm really interested to ask him about the handling of the car, just because we've seen so much struggling out there tonight, and it's so unlike what we've seen in the previous races, Carlos. But we got Jim Foose up in the booth now. You got a copy, Jim?
I got you loud and clear.
Jim, I got to ask you, how are those cars handling out there? We've seen a lot of drivers get sideways, get a little bit snap loose, and we've seen other drivers push up into that outside retaining barrier. How's the car?
Not very good. It's real snappy loose. It's really tight in a pack, and then it gets really snappy loose when it's by itself as the fuel burns off. So it handles about as good as my mom's broomstick on Halloween, that's for sure. I'm just kidding. She's probably watching, so gotta have a little fun with her.
Gotta have the disclaimer there. So you're back on the lead lap now. You said this car is real tight in the pack. What's going to be your battle plan here going into the next stint?
I don't think we're going to have time to pit. I'd love to slap some new tires on it and just try to charge through, but man, I don't know. It's kind of a risk here to figure that one out. We're going to have to make that decision pretty quick.
All right, Carlos, any questions for Jim?
Yeah, what happened in that pit stop? You were in the lead lap. You were battling for the top 5, and the next thing I saw as you go down pit road is you were a lap down.
Yeah, the driver forgets that the cars are a lot harder to steer at a slower pace than they are when you're going 230 miles an hour. So it's just hard to get the car to turn coming out of the pit box. And I don't like to cut through pit boxes. You know, there are penalties for that and stuff. So we just tried to make a sharp turn out, and it just didn't work out.
All right. So would you contribute the massive distance, the massive gaps that we've been seeing to just the handling of the vehicle? It kind of seems like, from a viewer's perspective, it just really seemed like as if the majority of the field was trying to save fuel, but that got thrown out the window when everybody went down pit road in lap 32 or around there. So yeah, it was just baffling to see that massive gap in terms of speed.
Yeah, I can tell you one guy that wasn't saving fuel. We were trying to use up every bit we could to get a point for leading a lap, but saw the 11 had a little bit of a hard luck there early on, so trying to just make up as much as we can and gain what we can on him. See if maybe we can get out of here with a top 5 in points.
All right, the green flag's about to drop. They got 2 more corners around for Payson. We're going to let you get back to your motor coach there, and good luck with the rest of the race, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Jim Foose, driver number 42. Not Menard's Chevrolet. It's a throwback. It's a Bobbini throwback to, I believe it was, well, you know what? I'm not gonna say it until I feel confident what it is. So, Andre, you go ahead and take over, as we're about to go green again.
Yeah, I'd say he really confirmed my suspicions there. I thought this car looked evil on this track, and the way he was talking, this car is a real handful for these guys. So I think that's kind of where we're seeing that gap. But the pace car goes down pit road. Christian Aleshu is going to be the driver, determining when they go green, and he is going to wait just a moment before getting on that pedal, and he's going to give himself a little bit of a gap back to second, but nowhere near as big of a gap as there is back to the third car in line. That is Cameron Winter. Now he's 5 laps down. He got loose on the apron. That's going to allow Tyler Beeman to work his way back up.
No caution. No caution. Jason Camps has crashed again.
I count 4 incidents.
Oh.
The number 17, unfortunately. A rough night so far for Jason Camps. The rear wing, of that car is dangling down towards the asphalt. I'm not sure it's serving its intended purposes at this point, but he's going to limp that thing around to pit road. I'd assume, I've said that 3 other times tonight, that he was probably going to have to go down pit road. He's defied expectations before, so hopefully he can get that thing fixed up and see what he can do. But right now, the battle for the lead is between Charles Ackerman and Christian Aleshu. This is pretty close, as you can see Aleshu diving down to the bottom of the track, trying to break that draft. We've got a lapped car in front of him. That's going to be Jason Camps. He's not on the access road. That's going to... Okay, he's spinning out on the infield. Tried to get out of the way of the leaders. Spun himself out. That's 5. I'm running out of fingers on my hand. Aleshu moving back down towards the inside, as I think a caution's got to come out. We still got the 17.
He's got suspension damage.
Yeah, he's got suspension damage. He's going backwards. He's on the apron. That car is held together by duct tape and prayers at this point. I'm not sure why he's not just taking a tow, but hey, he's the driver. On the commentator. Oh, contact! Jim Foose turns Dennis Pleer and a hard driver's side hit. That's gonna... then... Oh my goodness! JT Littler comes plowing in at 220 miles an hour. That car is destroyed. There is nothing left.
You see the remnants of tires and debris all over the exit turn 2, as we
Lee
just cut
Staples
a brief
involved
glimpse.
in that as well.
Wow.
I'm not even sure where Lee Staples got involved in that, but his right front tire is disconnected from the axle.
Well, no, it's there on our end.
On my end, that car is destroyed. Lee Staples is... I mean, are you seeing damage to the...
Oh, yeah.
Number 5? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So either way, the car is pretty well destroyed, but very unexpected. I mean, that was a 5-car incident almost. Wow, we're going to have to see if we can dial up the replay here. Let's take a look. This is from the perspective of number 33. These guys are wrecking ahead of him. And I mean, where's he going to go? Yeah, there's nowhere to go. The whole track's blocked. He's got cars up high, cars down low. He went up high, and he was just hoping that the cars were going to drift down the track. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and then except the throttle might have hung as he got stuck down into the inside barrier of the tire off of one of the cars, bouncing down the straightaway. A few cars making their way down pit road. Debris still all over the track. More damaged cars limping their way around.
That was netcode. Netcode between Jim Foose and Pleer, which is a championship battle. Well, not championship battle, but a battle for top 5 in points. And unfortunate, I know Jim Foose doesn't want to do that, and he didn't really. That was all netcode. Is heavy damage to the majority of the guys. You wanted to find out how Lee Staples got that damage? Well, let's find out how Lee Staples got that damage.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Netcode got Jim Foose there. But let's take a look at the onboard here for Lee Staples. See exactly what got him caught up. Of course, he was right behind him. He was the driver who T-boned him. I didn't even see the paint scheme there. I just saw that the car had been T-boned, and yeah, that was Lee Staples that made that driver's side hit. Of course, there isn't really a driver's side in a center drive car, but yeah, close enough. Very hard hits all around. That's gonna, I think, open up the door for Aleshu to maybe have a little bit less fierce competition behind him now. I mean, that was a lot of cars, but we got Jim Foose up in the booth with us again here under this caution. Jim,
Jim, what
seems like we
happened?
were just talking to you.
I mean, I don't know. It's, there's a lap car, and the lap car just keeps coming down, and I'm there. It's unfortunate, but
It was also
I'm trying to make up as much positions as I can here in the race, and got a lap car running me all the way down to the grass here. You just don't do that at Indy, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and like Carlos said, you actually, from our end, you never even really made contact. There was a little bit of net code there. You had a good foot or so between the cars. It was just a kind of situation where the simulator decided there was contact where there was none. Luckily, your car looks all right. I mean, it was kind of significant contact as far as the simulator is concerned, but the car looks all right visually. Is there anything wrong with the car?
No, we just came down pit road. Nothing wrong with it. Everything's clear, clean, good to go. I mean, I'm glad you guys said that, because I felt like I was past the car when it started to spin. So I don't know what really happened.
Yep, just a little bit of net code there. Well, we're going to be going green very shortly, so we're going to go ahead and put you back in your RV there. And again, good luck with the rest of the race. Hopefully we don't have to talk to you again so soon under circumstances like this. Hopefully when we're talking to you next time, it's under better circumstances. Go out there, get yourself a win, bud.
Thank you, guys. We'll see what we can get out of this.
And okay, now things are starting to develop, because Andre, we're at 48. There's about 33 laps remaining, and hey, remember how long these guys went last time? We just had Christian Alesiu go down pit road. Dennis Pearson, but he had damage. We just had the race leader Christian Alesiu go down pit road. I guarantee you, if the caution doesn't come out, he is not coming down pit road anymore.
I can't imagine that he would. I mean, we know you can go 32 laps. The number 24, Alan Young, proved that earlier. I would say he's definitely pretty much done pitting, safe for caution. Question is, what are these other guys going to do? How are they going to answer that strategy? It's going to be something. But we've got Ackerman as leading the way for this restart. And let's see, when did Ackerman last pit there, Carlos?
Ackerman last one down pit road on lap 32.
Okay, so he's definitely going to have to pit again. So really, the only driver who is good to the end that pitted is Alesiu, correct?
Alesiu, Alan Young went down pit road lap 46. So the guys that went down pit road lap 46, Beeman, Foose, Young, and Alesiu came down pit road in 47. So realistically, all those guys have a shot at not having to pit the rest of the way, as green flag is out, and we got 32 laps to go.
That's going to be really fun to watch develop, see what those guys do. Charles Ackerman leading the way. He's going to get down on that white line and gets a little bit sideways. And at least from my end, Charles is having some blinking issues.
He's struggling here. That's why we're even have the camera on him. He's blinking too much right now.
Yeah, a lot of in and out from Ackerman. Jonathan Holstein behind him in second place. He's 0.4 of a second back, but I got to think that Jonathan's probably a little bit leery of trying to make an overtake or make a move here, because you don't really know where the competition is. If they're disappearing, reappearing, you never really want to make that move and then have them reappear right to your inside. So he's going to have to kind of take it easy, maybe play the patience game for a little while here and see what he can do. Patrick Stein's behind him, and then Tyler Beeman, you mentioned he pitted on lap 46, so pretty much the first driver in line that's good to the end there in fourth. He's watching these drivers battle for second as the leader continues to kind of blink in and out of existence here. Jim Foose behind Tyler Beeman, but looks like Alan Young just made that overtake on Jim Foose. So Alan Young working his way up the grid. There is a huge gap between Alan Young and the pack of the leaders here: Tyler Beeman, Patrick Stein, Jonathan Holstein. All these drivers separated massively. So while Alan Young is good on fuel, so is Tyler Beeman, and Tyler Beeman's up in this lead pack. So right now, if I was a betting man, I would... Ooh, Beeman, big loose out of the second turn there. But if I was a betting man, I'd say Beeman has the best cards in his hand right now.
Yeah, And of course, it's also still not guaranteed. These guys, we saw them go down lap 32, but that was with the help of caution. And granted, we did have some cautions, but these guys are trying to make it 32 laps straight. So, could be that they can make it to 32. Could also just be that they may be very, very close. So we're gonna. I want to see what Beeman, Young, and all these guys, Aleju, what they're gonna do in terms of do they have the confidence in making it all the way, or are we gonna be seeing some fuel saving here? Because that would be the best chance for us to see some proper fuel saving.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna see any saving. I think these guys, at least the ones that are in the draft, like Tyler Beeman, I think they're pretty good. I could be wrong, but we'll have to wait and see. The lap times right now tell me I don't think there's a whole lot of conservation going on. They're running high 41s, which is kind of what we saw in that first stint before the halfway point, and they weren't saving then. So very similar lap times, but it looks like Tyler Beeman's going to make a move for third place. That's going to slingshot him around Jonathan Holstein, and now he's got a ways to go to get up to the leaders. But man, everybody is continuing to just really struggle with this car, Carlos. I mean, coming through turn 2 alone, I saw no less than 3 cars get sideways and have to correct it. I said Tyler Beeman's got the best cards in his hand, and I think that's still true. But like you said, it ain't over till it's over. And with how difficult these cars have been to drive, I feel like there's no guarantee for anything.
It's scary for sure how close these guys get on the edge of spinning out or bringing out a caution in general. But one good thing to note is that Ackerman's connection is stabilized. Whoever's watching Netflix in his house finally got the message to turn it off. As now Ackerman is able to... Oh, who is that? Is that Lee Staples? That's Lee Staples right there, who is slow on the backstretch, going to take the access road. But yeah, that's interesting.
Somebody in the Ackerman household has to forego watching the latest episodes of Inside Job so that Ackerman can continue to lead the way. That's interesting, but Patrick Stein right behind him. Now this kind of changes the dynamic because without the leader blinking in and out, that gives a lot more confidence to the guys behind him, and they're going to be able to kind of calculate where he's going to be and what they need to do to try to make the pass. What Charles Ackerman has over these drivers behind him is corner speed. I don't see Ackerman getting loose as often or as much as the cars behind him. Seems like he's a little bit more stable through the corners, a little bit more planted, and maybe not carrying quite as much momentum into the corner, but that's made up for because the cars behind him, they sail it in a little bit quicker, and then they immediately sacrifice all that speed and then some, getting loose and having to correct that. Whereas, again, I've not seen Ackerman get sideways once, so a lot of car control out of that number 63 machine, but the question is, how is he going to fare as this run goes on? Because I would say if it stays green, it doesn't necessarily matter how well he's able to control the car if he can hold on to the lead, because he's going to have to pit again. That's a guarantee if it stays green. He will have to pit, and he's got cars behind him that it's pretty much guaranteed they won't have to. So he's kind of holding out for a caution, I would say, at this point, would be his saving grace. But, man, that's kind of up in the air whether or not we're going to get him. I would say that it's likely that we'd get another one. I mean, just looking at the trend of the race here, Carlos, we've had so many cautions, so many incidents. But that last incident, that took out a lot of drivers, or at least damaged the cars and made them kind of less competitive and took them out of the pack. So a little bit more separation, a thinner field. I feel like the chances of cautions has kind of steadily decreased this race, especially with the help of that incident. So, I don't know. How do you think this is looking for Ackerman?
Well, Ackerman, I gotta say, it's not looking good for him at all. The amount of... Okay, well, the amount of, like, percentage of him winning this race goes down drastically, because not only here I'm trying to do the numbers here. Not only does Ackerman have to pit because he went down on lap 32, he also has to deal with the dual factor of Matt Sim Racing, and Matt Sim Racing is Patrick Stein and Tyler Beeman, and they're both right behind him. So you're right now he's got the confidence in the handling of the car, but he's got 2 guys in the same team right behind him. Patrick Stein also has to pit. He went down pit road on lap 40. That's 8 laps, later than Ackerman, but that's 40 laps. You can't make that. Tyler Beeman went down pit road on lap 46. Between those three, he's got the best chance. He's got I want to say, over an 80% chance of winning this race should he keep it clean, and there's a big gap. The percentages of winning will drastically go down for Charles and Patrick if a caution doesn't come out. As each lap goes by, that percentage just keeps on dropping from a high number that was in the double digits to a single number in the single digits.
Yeah, that I would have to agree. It's one of those things that as the race goes on, it's just kind of diminishing, because we're going to get more separation as well, and the further separated we are, the less possible I think cautions are. Although you never know, we have seen some single. Ooh man, Tyler Beeman. I'm following along with Beeman on my perspective, and he is. I'm gonna need some blood pressure medication watching him drive. He's racking my nerves here. Like he's getting sideways out of the corner, and every time it happens, I think there's no way he's bringing that car back around. There's no way he's saving it, and then somehow he does. And I mean, he's got me on the edge of my seat, but he's holding on to it for now. Meanwhile, look at this though. It's a shame that the strategy's kind of played out the way it has for Ackerman so far, at least, because I tell you what, you want to talk about car control. Again, he's the only car in this lead pack that is not getting sideways consistently everywhere. He is really planted through the corners, driving really, really smoothly. He's not really taking the risks that a lot of these other guys are. Some of these drivers are going right down to that curb, trying to rotate the car as much as possible, whereas Ackerman, he's running about half a lane up. He's not really hugging the bottom quite as tight as the other drivers. So that stability is really paying dividends. It's helping him a lot, but with the strategy playing out the way it is so far, may be all for now, but we'll have to wait and see as he's coming out of turn 4 right now, behind him. And a driver that's falling off is Tyler Beeman. Not sure why he's falling off. It could be that he just wants to save a little bit because he knows both cars in front of him have to pit. So he can save a little bit and just ensure himself that he makes it to the end and not have to worry about it. Or it could just be the tire wear. I mean, with how difficult this car has been to drive, and I am seeing him get loose a lot, it could just be that the longer this run goes on, the more the car gets away from him. But moving a little bit further back from Tyler Beeman and the other leaders there, you've got Jonathan Holstein. He's sitting in P4, and he is 3.5 seconds back from the leaders, and he is about 2.5 seconds back.
Ackerman pit road.
As Ackerman makes his way down pit road, like you said, I'm assuming Patrick Stein's going to follow shortly. I mean, I can't imagine he'd stay out too much longer. But Ackerman sacrifices the lead there, and I got to wonder, did he have to pit where, he was starting to run out of gas, he's running on fumes, or could he have waited a little bit longer? Because if I'm him...
He could have waited a little bit longer.
Yeah.
For sure, because I had the pit graphic up, and he was 23 laps on that stint, so he could have for sure waited a little bit longer, probably about eight laps, give or take 2.
Yeah, see, that's a interesting strategy call, because if I'm him, I'm going to run that thing dry. I'm going to hope that there's going to be a yellow flag to kind of save me, but he pitted a little bit early, so I'm assuming then he's just trying to say, well, I'll take my last set of tires, and I'm going to try to make this time up under green early on while I still can. But the thing is, I don't think tires are going to be that valuable. I mean, you can see he cycled out just not too far ahead of Patrick Stein, who is the current leader. Tires right now are only worth about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. And of course, that advantage is going to continually diminish as Ackerman's tires continue to wear themselves. So I don't think he's going to be able to run him down. He's again he's hoping for a caution just for a different reason now, as Patrick Stein continues to lead the way. And like you said, both these drivers could have went a little bit further. I think that's what Patrick's doing. He's staying out, hoping for a caution, seeing what he can do. And then you've got Tyler Beeman right behind him. And, Beeman's not too giddy to pass his teammate right now. I mean, he knows that his teammate's got to pit anyway, so he knows he has the advantage. There's no harm in drafting. When you're as close on fuel as Beeman is, why not draft your teammate? Just save that extra drop of fuel, make sure you can make it to the end. right now, I think second place is exactly where Tyler wants to be.
Yeah, and this is something that Stein knows. And I personally think that, for at least two reasons why Stein is staying up there is the most important one, until you run out of fuel to get a caution, because he has to pit. That's without a doubt, he will have to pit. And also, too, you can help your teammate. You have your teammate behind there. He's not going to make an attempt to pass you. It'll be nice, stress-free environment right now while you're leading a race, where the only thing that you can do is just sit back and wait for somebody to make a mistake. And then Beeman can also benefit by being behind his buddy there, drafting, saving just a little bit more fuel because... okay, well... Now I'm confused. Okay, actually, never mind. Sorry, I misread that. I thought Christian Alesiu went down pit road. No, Alan Young has gone down pit road.
Yeah, if Alesiu came down pit road, I was going to be just as baffled. That would have.
I would have been so lost.
Yeah, that would have been. At that point, I think they're just trying. They're listening to the broadcast and they're just trying to confuse us. But yeah, Alesiu has worked his way up to 4th so far. I don't think that he can catch the leaders under green. The clock is ticking, and we're on lap 68 out of 80, so we really only got about 13 laps remaining in this race, which is not a whole lot of time when we're clicking off 40-second laps. I think he's going to kind of rely on a caution, especially that time when he actually lost time. He's now 5 seconds back, so kind of hoping for a caution there. I think right now Tyler Beeman, again, is just in the best position out of anybody, and he's doing two things. Number one, he's hoping that a yellow flag does not come out to throw a wrench in his plans. And number two, he's just trying to keep a hold of that car because he's still getting sideways, and that is a scary thing. Because let me tell you, when you're the driver who you've got the best shot, as he's going to actually go for the move, pass his teammate for the lead. When you know you're the driver with the best shot, and you've got the best car, the best track condition, the last thing you want to do is take yourself out of the show. The last thing you want to do is make a mistake, spin yourself out, get into the wall. And with how much that car is trying to spin out and how just snap loose and crazy that car seems to be handling for him, I think he's going to be taking it a little bit easy and just trying to make sure that he brings the car home.
You know what this kind of tells me? This is kind of telling me that Tyler Beam he's hit his target, and he can make it the rest of the way on fuel, or at least he thinks he can make it the rest of the way on fuel. And now what he's trying to do is maybe help Patrick Stein try to survive maybe even one more lap. Because Stein's gonna be, he's probably gonna be like 6 or so laps short. So we should be seeing him going down pit road relatively soon. But if Beam can help even just a little bit, or Patrick is also just slowing down to the point where he can stay out as long as he can, that could be a difference. But yeah, Tyler Beam, best position right now, has the best chance. Second best chance has got to be Alesiu, because the two guys ahead of him, Stein and Holstein, they'll have to come down pit road, so he will for sure at the minimum end up in seconds should nothing change. But he has 1 lap more fuel than Beeman does. And, Alesiu hasn't been running as fast as Beeman does. So if he can outlast Tyler, and Tyler maybe runs out, a lap early, then we're going to be looking at Alesiu with 3 wins this season.
That could be, and that could be. I mean, there's just so many different ways that this could play out. This whole race has just been one big roll of the dice. I feel like from the very beginning, this race has defied expectations and kind of taken what we thought it was going to be, threw it in a blender, poured it out, and this is what we have.
This whole race has been, all right, let's do the opposite of what the commentators say. Let's make them feel like idiots.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're listening to the commentators. They got the broadcast pulled up, and they hear us say, "Oh, they're going to try to make it to lap 40," and they say, "You know what? I could make it to lap 40, but now I don't want to."
Yeah, now I'm not going to, out of spite. There goes Patrick Stein down pit road.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I don't think he could have made it a whole lot further, if any at all. So he's gonna get that car serviced. And that's going to leave Tyler Beeman with about a 7.6 second gap last time by.
32 laps.
Actually, no, 9 second gap back to second place Christian Aleshu, who has climbed his way back up through the grid after his pitting there. But yeah, 9 seconds, that's not a gap that's going to be achievable under green. Something disastrous would have to happen to the leader, and for the time being,
it could.
I'd say this is about. Yeah, we're not going to put that evil on it. We're not going to put that evil on Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. We both went through the same thing.
But right now, I think he's just got to take it easy. Christian Aleshu, he's got a good car. He's got a good run. If something happens, if a yellow flag comes out, well, he's going to be there to capitalize. But for now, the race is about as calm as it's ever been. Knock on wood. Everybody's kind of separated, and that's kind of letting these guys run their lines. And you got to think back to what Jim Foose was telling us there, Carlos. He said these cars handle completely different on their own than they do in a pack, and could be some of these drivers really prefer the handling on their own, especially some of these drivers that we saw getting tight out of the corner. You know, Jim said in a pack, it's real tight, it's kind of loose on its own. Well, some of these drivers that were kind of stuck in the pack earlier, now they're on there and they got the handling where they want it to be. And everybody seems to be kind of calming down. I'm not seeing these guys get loose like they were before, as actually Tyler Beeman continues to lap quicker than Christian Aleshu. Tyler gained about, I want to say 4 or 5 tenths that lap, if not more, because it went up to 10.6 seconds. So, man, what a rocket ship Tyler Beeman has, all on his own, no draft help or anything, pulling away from Aleshu. But like you said, Carlos, I think he's good on fuel. I mean, when we saw him pass his teammate, I think that was the indicator that he was confident. He didn't have to draft anymore, didn't have to save. But it's never a precise science. You never really know exactly how much fuel you have. Just kind of a rough estimate. So who knows? Could come down to fuel mileage, but right now everything's pretty calm.
Looking very calm indeed. You know, where you're at. Beeman in first, Aleshu in second, Jim Foose in third. And I mentioned earlier I was talking to Jim Foose. I was also talking about him, giving him some flack because he doesn't have any bonus points as
okay. Interesting
I do think
development.
that they're throwing this out of spite now.
Huh. Oh my. Oh, that changes everything. Beeman coming down pit road. That's gonna give Aleshu the lead. Now, the question is, can Aleshu make it? I mean, he's on the same strategy. How much has he been saving?
And
I can tell you he's
a lot better.
Well, and I can tell you he's saving a lot right now because he's going 200 miles an hour down the straightaway. These cars are capable of going 218 on their own, and he's going 200. So he's definitely saving, but can he make it? I mean, when he crosses the line this time, he's going to have 3 more times around.
I gotta say this. That's the second time I've been held like legit speechless broadcasting. The second time, the first time as a commentator, and wow, that shocked me.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was good. I mean, like, I know I kind of, it's the running gag that I'm not very good at, like, guessing strategies or estimating, like, fuel mile, but I really thought wholeheartedly that he was good to the end.
We were looking at the numbers, and the numbers didn't lie. I don't understand it. But right now, Aleshu's going to try to make it to the end. And if Aleshu can't do it, then I know Jem can't do it.
If Aleshu does make it, I'm going to be even more baffled.
No,
because Aleshu...
No, I wouldn't really be that baffled at Aleshu. If Jim Foose can finish this race in second, I will be baffled.
Yeah, I mean, because Jim's on the exact same strategy as the number 89 there, Patrick Sign. Or I'm sorry, number 90, Tyler Beeman. So if he finishes second and doesn't pit, and Tyler Beeman made his way down pit road,
well, actually, Beeman's catching in heavily on Jim Foose. He actually may pass Jim Foose, but if Jim Foose can make it and finish this race, then I'll be baffled, I should say. Let me clarify that.
And let it be known, Christian Aleshu has gone into super saving mode. This is ultra economy efficient Christian Aleshu. He's going 179 miles an hour down the straightaway. That is slightly above pace speed. Uh, he is rolling this car as lightly as he can, trying to say. I mean, he's on lap 80. We got the white flag in the air. He's coming through turn 2. When he crossed the line, he had an 11-second gap to Jim Foose and Tyler Beeman, both. He's rocking down the back straightaway about 189 miles an hour. Still a decent gap to the cars behind. Coming through turn 3, he is slowing down rapidly. I'm not sure if that's scuffing speed away or if he's perhaps out of fuel. Nope, he's back up to 179. He's got a lap car in front of him, but it shouldn't matter as he's coming down the straightaway for the final time. It looks like Christian Aleshu will save just enough, and he is going to win the Indianapolis 200. ASRS, a third win, and now we're going to have to wait and see. Does Jim Foose cross the line? Does he make it? Yeah, okay, Jim Foose made it.
Well, we're going to have hopefully a chat with them.
Yeah, I'm a little flabbergasted. I mean, Tyler Beeman gained back a lot. He really did, but man, if he had just not pitted, and I feel he saved enough. I mean, he was drafting the whole run. He was drafting more than Jim Foose. Well, it's interesting. We're gonna try to get some.
We've been backstabbed, and we've quite possibly been bamboozled here. I do not know why Beeman went down pit road.
Hoodwinked, even, Carlos.
Hoodwinked.
It's a betrayal, you know? That's what it is. Anyways, final running order before we get our interviews lined up here. Christian Aleshu brings home the win. I believe he won every race we broadcasted, correct, Carlos?
I'm sure he wants us to be his personal broadcasters from now on.
Yeah, probably. Tyler Beeman bringing it home at P2. Jim Foose going to bring it home in third, and I believe that cinches 5th place in points for Jim. Charles Ackerman is going to be at P4. Patrick Stein is going to be 5th. Alan Young, 6th. 7 and 8 is Jonathan Holstein and Cameron Winter. Lee Staples going to be P9. Rounding out your top 10, Jason Camps. And rounding out the rest of the field, you got Dennis Pleer, JT Whitler, and Jeremy Banning in P13. And Jeremy Banning was 59 laps down. And that is going to be it for our final running order. Now we're going to try to line up what interviews we can. And I would say while Carlos handles trying to get the rest of these guys, we'll start out with third place, Jim Foose. Let's bring him up. Jim Foose, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, first off, Jim, congratulations on the podium. That was one heck of an effort to get up there, and you played the strategy just right. You had a bit of a battle for it there at the end. Tyler Beeman came down pit road. He didn't have to save. He was pretty much going flat out, and he nearly got you for third place at the end. Tell me about that battle.
Yeah, it was really intense. I was watching the 81's distance from us. We were closing in, and it was chunks at a time, you know, a half a second, 7/10, something like that at a time. And then it would stabilize for, you know, maybe a quarter of a lap, a half a lap, and then another chunk, and then another chunk. And it just kept coming like that. And I was like, all right, he's got to be running out of gas. And I didn't think that that Beeman was going to be able to catch us. But he had the fastest car here today, and you know that's why he's the champion. He's probably the best driver in the field, and he definitely had the speed to get around us. We were saving everything we could, and ended up with 4/10 of a lap left in the fuel tank.
Cutting it close, but you played it exactly right. Jim, I got to ask, you know, now that we're kind of at the conclusion of the open wheel series, it's kind of been a different venture for ASRS. What are some kind of retrospective thoughts here about this series, and how did you feel about it?
This series is a lot of fun to get into, and a lot of guys, the knock on the Indy cars is that it's just, you know, flat out turn left. This car is totally different. First and foremost, it's not flat out and turn left. There's a lot of lifting, but you also have the tools in the car to play with. I mean, you're playing with the fuel mix, your front and rear sway bar, or anti-roll bar over here we call it. and the weight jacker. And on the road courses, you don't have the weight jacker, but then you have to decide between the primary black tires and the alternate softer red tires. So, I mean, there's just a ton of strategy that goes into this. The races this season have been, in my experience, they're a little bit short, but they're the perfect length to see how people react to playing strategy. They have enough strategy, but they don't have the strategy levels that we saw in the stock car world. And that's something we're going to see some extended races next year and some other things coming about. So really happy. I love my group of guys that are here racing with us every week. I've made a lot of friends with this side of things. Guys that I'd never talked to in the stock car side of things. In the almost 20 years of doing this, didn't know any of these guys existed, and here we are in the open wheel car. And talked to several of them during the week, and just really proud of what the project has been here at the end of this mini season.
Yeah, it's been really great to watch from a spectator's perspective. Definitely been a big fan and been glad to be able to call these races. I can say you guys definitely put on a great show. And again, hopefully you guys, like you said, can kind of expand on it in the future, do a little bit more of it, because I think it was great. It was absolutely great. Before we let you go, Jim, is there anybody that you'd like to shout out or thank for your third place finish?
Absolutely. Just I want to thank everybody that has been a part of the series all season long. I got to apologize to Dennis if I got into him. And I've racing incident netcode. That's what you guys said. I haven't seen the replay yet, but I don't like to race people like that, and I know Dennis wouldn't race me like that. So want to apologize to him. Thanks to my mom and dad for getting me into racing, and everybody that's been a part of this. Also, thanks to Sam Maxwell Customs for the wheel. It's perfect for open wheel racing and all the adjustments. And then just at the beginning of the season, and it took a little while to get it with the logistics delays right now in the U.S. But Sim Speed Shop put together a button box that you're going to see on their website here shortly, with some knobs to use to adjust, make my in-car adjustments, and we can adjust the fuel map just by reaching over and turning one knob. We got buttons and switches and all kinds of stuff, and I haven't even assigned them all actual functions yet. I think some of them are just there for show for me at the moment.
All right. Well, again, congratulations, Jim, and thank you for your time.
Actually, Jim,
thank you guys.
I got a question for you. Hold on, Jim.
Oh boy.
I remember earlier we were chatting, and I was actually trying to say this in a broadcast, and then Tyler Beeman went down pit road, flabbergasted me. I was I was giving you some flack for not having any bonus points this season, and I don't think you actually. I think you actually did finish the season without any bonus points, but you also told me you hadn't finished the race and the lead lap or gotten a top 5. You did both today. So. Not only that, you also came close to winning. You had a legit chance there. So what a way to end your season, Jim.
Thanks, Carlos. We did have a podium at Milwaukee where Alan Young lapped the field. Thanks, Alan. But so we got second at Milwaukee back there when everybody got lapped. But first lead lap finish, and just a great way to end the season. I'll tell you what, I was thinking the only real bonus that I had gotten all season long was 11% off at Menards. They just ended that over the weekend, so I don't get that anymore. So I had to get a lead lap finish.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, Jim.
All right.
Yep. Thanks for chatting, and we're gonna catch you in 2 weeks for an exhibition race.
Absolutely, I cannot wait to go to Chicago.
All right. And that was league owner Jim Foos and your third place finisher. Now let's go ahead and have Andre catch up with tonight's winner and possibly the biggest 3YTV fan out there, Christian Elijah.
Christian, you got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, you won every race that we broadcasted here on 3Wide TV. I'm not going to say we're your good luck charm, but kind of seems that way.
I think it's pretty evident, man. I don't know what more evidence you need. So I also run a few other leagues during the week. I'm going to need you guys to show up to those as well.
Oh, man. But this race, All right, well, send it our way. This race was really, really crazy, Christian. I mean, from the drop of the green flag, I feel like it defied expectations. We had that very early caution, and then ever since then, things
Right.
never really let up. We had drivers swapping out positions. We had strategy where up in the booth, we were trying to figure out strategy, trying to figure out, oh, he can go this many laps or he can go this far. And it seemed like we were continually wrong. But at the end of the race, it seemed like you had just enough fuel. You went into super saving mode. I mean, you were going 179 down the straightaway. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about the end of that race.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting there keeping a close eye on my fuel. I knew that last yellow, Tyler Beeman, man, he took off. Like I was working my way through traffic. By the time I finally got up to second, I look at the relative, and he had a good 15 seconds on everybody. And I said, well, the only way I'm going to win this now, because he's so far out, man. I guess that's just on me for putting myself so far back. I started, basically last. So thinking to myself, man, the only way I'm going to make up a 15-second difference is I'm going to have to beat him with the math. I'm going to have to run these numbers and beat him with the fuel game. So when that yellow came out and I saw him decide to box, it was like lap 41-ish or something like that. Well, I knew he was about 10 laps short of the window that we needed. So I was like, that's it right there. That's what's going to get me my 15 seconds back. And it worked. But I really calculated it down to the 10th, man. I was at like 0.40 liters at the line, but we got it done. So yeah, man. Great race. Who doesn't want to win Indy, right? As a driver, who doesn't want to win Indy?
It's a very historic location and just a great place to win for sure. I got to ask, as the commentators, we were nervous, but, you said you calculated it down to the 10th there. Was there ever a moment when you were saving fuel that you were thinking, man, I'm not sure it's going to make it?
I'm really the whole time, man. It was because I was about 4 laps short of the window. I was planning on coming in anyway, but I figured we weren't going to have any more yellows. It seemed like the race had really calmed down. Everybody got into a groove. Everybody got comfortable. So I was like, we're not going to have another yellow. I need to pit now. And I boxed, and I was like, man, this is going to have to be super fuel save mode. I got lucky, though. My strategist, Jason Camps, was in this race, and he happened to be out in front of me. So I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, man, if you could tow me around, that would be super, because I don't have a teammate like a lot of these guys. Tyler does. I know the LA Sims 4 guys, they've got teammates. I don't. So I just kind of had to use my strategist as a driver teammate. We've never done that before. So, but he did what he had to do, and he got me the win. So very thankful to Jason Camps as well.
Teamwork makes the dream work. But Christian, again, congratulations on the win. Is there anybody that you'd like to shout out or thank?
Oh, thank you so much. First and foremost, of course, Jesus, my Lord and Savior. Through him, all things are possible. I want to thank Gutsy Organic, the world's greatest prebiotic snack, www.gutsyorganic.com. Dandelion is my favorite flavor, so go grab you some. It might be your favorite as well. My girlfriend, Rowena, for all of her awesome support. And tonight, as with most nights when I'm racing, my strategist, Jason Camps, only he wasn't in my ear. He was in a car and he helped me out, so I appreciated that, man. So thank you, and thank you to you guys as well for doing the great job you do broadcasting. I've really enjoyed watching the show back. You guys do a phenomenal job. I know it's not typically your bread and butter as far as series go, but you guys manage it so well, man. It's very engaging content. And of course, ASRS, Jim Foos for putting the series on. Had a great late run here in the schedule. And I congratulations to Tyler as well on winning the championship. But I can't help but think that if I didn't miss the 2 or 3 races that I had to miss on the schedule, I had something for him.
I definitely think you would have. It would have been a really good points battle there. With the speed that you've had, it's been really impressive. And again, just a big congratulations. A great way to cap off the season. But
thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Christian.
Hold on, I got something for you, Christian.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give you a chance. Kind of, you won today's race, and it's 3 races that we broadcasted out of the 4. We got an exhibition coming up in 2 weeks. So I'm gonna give you the honor to kind of like pimp yourself out and promote your stuff. You are everybody's favorite children's author. Why don't you talk about that quickly?
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I wrote a children's book called Faster and Faster, a children's guide to motorsport. Myself and Robbie Unser, who of course was the 1998 IndyCar Rookie of the Year. I do some sim coaching at a place called Racecraft One here in Indianapolis. We train up a bunch of road to Indy drivers and everything. So Robbie Unser is also another coach there at that facility. And so that's how him and I became buddies. And I was lucky enough to have him help me out with the book. But if you've got a young motorsports fan and they just want a good understanding of the rungs and how you can move up and just the feel for the faster cars, this is the book for you. It's light, it's fun, it's visually appealing, everything you want in a children's book, and plus you got Robbie Unser a part of it, man. Just giving you little tips and tricks on how to move up the ladder if you are looking to make motorsports a career.
All right.
It's really awesome. I had no idea you did that. That's a really cool thing. Definitely glad you were able to kind of give that a shout out. That seems like a really awesome project. And I want to go back to the other shout out to one of your sponsors. Did you say a dandelion flavored organic snack?
Yes. Yes, Gutsy Organic. It's a prebiotic and really promotes your gut health. I'm not sure how much you know about gut health, but it is tied into everything that's going on in your body, so it's really something you really got to keep on top of. It's low glycemic index as well. We did a segment on the Food Network a couple of weeks ago. So check that out if you got the Food Network. It's a show called How Healthy Happens, and you can watch our spotlight. But we talked a lot about what Gutsy can do for you, man. It's just such a great snack. And surprisingly, you wouldn't think dandelions, but dandelion, man. It's got a little hint of ginger as well. And really, really good, man. I suggest you try it. Actually, you know what? Because you guys are my favorite broadcasters, shoot me your address, and I'll make sure to get you a sample pack of Gutsy Organic.
All right, I'll have to do that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That is.
I am genuinely curious as to what dandelion tastes like.
Heaven. It tastes like heaven. Basically, whatever you imagine heaven to taste like, that's what it tastes like, man. But it's delicious. It's delicious. So.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on the win, Christian. And
thank you so much.
We're gonna wrap up the broadcast here, but thanks for your time and good luck in the exhibition event.
Thank you, bud. And I'll see you guys then.
All right. Oh, Andre Christian called you stupid.
Yeah, I mean, not the first time. But that was quite a race, Carlos. That was going in. I'm thinking, it's Indianapolis. It's gonna be fun. But I did not expect it to be quite as chaotic as it was. I mean, not just the wrecks and the incidents and things like that, just the strategy. I mean, it was all over the place. We really had no idea. And I mean, I generally have no idea what's going on, but I had even less of an idea what was going on in this race because it was so up in the air. The strategy was wild. I really enjoyed it. But that's going to do it for us here at 3 Wide TV. Thanks to all the viewers for tuning in, and we will catch you for the exhibition event in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you all.